This is your boy Real, and we are back with another episode of Don Diallo Podcast. And today I have another special guest. We have a founder and CEO of Forefront, the first influencer in UGC marketplace built for melanated indigenous brands and creators. With over 2,000 connections and reaching win as the HBCU grand prize winner for Pharrell's 50K Black Ambition Prize. All right, this lady done did a lot, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to get a chance to get to know her a little bit outside of the business and just, see who this young lady is. So without further ado, Miss Jordyn Weaver.
Thank you.
How you
Hey,
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. How was your drive? Everything's okay?
It was smooth. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm glad to get you here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
for
no
having
doubt.
me.
It definitely was like we had to make something happen. I really want her to come on because she's doing something great with her brand. So we're gonna get into some conversation, right?
I'm with it.
All right. So, talk about Forefront just a little bit, and then I'm gonna dive a little more into it though. But just,
Okay.
yeah.
So Forefront is an influencer and UGC marketplace, as you mentioned, for Black and minority-owned brands to connect with influencers and content creators. But I started to really just bring Black brands to the forefront. But looking at the current social media landscape, social media is like really how we consume everything, how we interact, how we learn about brands. And so I wanted to find a way how we can bring in content creators to use their platforms to uplift Black-owned businesses and minority-owned businesses, all in all. But to help more people discover them, help them to make more sales online, and to bring them to the forefront of the culture. So that's what Forefront is.
Okay, then. So y'all heard that, right? So make sure y'all get her socials and everything. Connect with her whenever if you get a chance, So I want to ask you, first question I want to ask you, how do you stay focused and grounded while leading that type of platform? And, I'm pretty sure your schedule is pretty busy, How do you stay grounded during that time?
That's a great question. I think everything that I do in life is just definitely rooted in my faith. So, whenever I'm
You
just
believe in
going through,
God, right?
yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
for sure. Okay.
Whenever I'm just going through highs and lows of life, I just really have to lean into my faith, whether it's good or bad, just really making sure that I'm connected to the source, but also I think just really staying focused on my vision and just knowing why I'm doing certain things. I think a lot of times, especially in this day and age, everyone's doing things for a lot of the wrong reasons. There's nothing wrong with, chasing the bag, but I wouldn't say that's necessarily my focal point. I think for me, it's just I'm just being very considerate about what I feel like my community needs from me and what I'm called to do for my communities. And so whenever you feel like you are called to do certain things, you kind of just lock in with that. For me, I just feel like this is something that God has called me to do. So without me acting on it, I feel like I'm being disobedient, and I don't want to really experience, life like that. So I just really try to just stay committed to who I am and what I'm passionate about, but also what I'm called to do. And it might take longer, if I'm just, going through the motions, but regardless, I just keep my eye on the vision.
Purpose. And that's what I heard throughout all that. Like, purpose is what you got to have. I truly believe in that, though, too, because a lot of people do be walking and they don't know where they're going. And so I think from that perspective, you make a lot of bad decisions.
Yeah.
And,
sure.
if you got to try to find that purpose. My mom used to tell me, find your place in the world and then move in that place. You know what I'm saying? So just, okay, no doubt. So where are you from?
So I grew up in Charlotte. I rep Charlotte. I was born in Indianapolis, Indiana. My family and I moved to Charlotte when I was about 9. My dad started a church. And so since then, I'm a PK.
Okay.
Yeah. So, my dad started a church and been in Charlotte since then. Yeah. So that's where I'm from.
No doubt. Let's
Queen
talk
City.
Queen City. Okay. Let's talk upbringing. So what was what was little Jordyn like?
Little Jordyn was very entrepreneurial. I didn't realize I was until I looked back. I have a twin sister. Her and I, we would be doing lemonade stands, pet sitting, dog sitting, walking dogs around the neighborhood, babysitting cats. It's just stuff. We were really entrepreneurial. We had the flyers. We'd go around and put the flyers in the mailboxes. We was going all out. So I've always been very entrepreneurial. And I think that's really rooted from my parents. Even before my dad started the church, he had a nonprofit. Him and my mom had a nonprofit. So I didn't really see them working for other people. I really saw them building their own. I think that kind of just got ingrained into me and my siblings. And so that's kind of what I wanted to do. But I didn't really know that until I got to college. But growing up, I wanted to be a pharmacist. I think I was just, back to your question, I think I was very inquisitive, very strong-minded. I guess you could say in a way outspoken. But I know sometimes I can be like perceived in a bad way, but I think it's a good thing. I'm just kind of, I just realized back in the day and even now, I don't really take a lot of mess. Like, you know, I'm a small petite girl, so I think sometimes people used to like try to like get over on me in certain ways, and then you know,
from the perception,
yeah. So, but overall, I've always been, you know, friendly, loving. Me and my siblings are really close, and so, you know, had a blessed upbringing, I would say.
I was no doubt, because you had the parents that, you know, they was backing you. It seemed like they was backing you, so they definitely they gave you the 100% support.
Yeah, and that's something that, I mean, obviously you don't know what you don't know. I've always experienced just two loving parents being able to support me. But once I got to college and was really stepping into my entrepreneurial journey, a lot of friends would ask, like, do your parents support this? And it was just like, why you ask me that? Like, why wouldn't they?
It's
but you know, especially you know, from our community, if we don't see a lot of entrepreneurs being successful, things of that nature, you know, a lot of our families just want us to go with what we know, and what we know makes sense. Yeah, what's safe. Yeah. And I think because my parents didn't really take that route, they supported it. Even down to like one of the recent, you know, things that comes to mind, when it just came to their support and just me being an entrepreneur, I had this job opportunity, like right when I moved to Atlanta, and it was a great job, great company, and I had to turn it down. Mind you, I didn't have anything lined up at the time. I think I quit my job. I was serving at the time, and
you was just trying to like, you knew that little safe basically offered you a way out, but you knew that was
well, it wasn't even because I didn't want to work, because I know I definitely needed a job, but it was that particular company. They pretty much told me that I couldn't have my own business as I work for the company. So I was like, well, if that's the case, and I feel like God is calling me to this business, then this job isn't for me. But they supported me. My sister, because I was living with her at the time, and she was like, all right, like, you taking this job, right? But I was like, no. My parents supporting me, so you know, it was definitely a blessing to have.
Y'all was splitting rent. She probably was like, what's up?
And she had just bought a townhouse, and so she had a mortgage at that point, and I was supposed to be helping her, you know, but we made it work.
No doubt. Shout out to you, sister, for holding it down. You know, thanks, you probably were mad, but you held it down.
Oh, she was mad. I ain't gonna lie, but
I know how it be. You be like, I had people do that with me sometimes. Like, but just be patient with me.
Yeah,
just be patient. I'm coming. And I'll give you back tenfold.
Yeah,
so.
And she already know I got her. So.
I was gonna ask you this later, but I'm gonna ask you this now. Who's the spicy twin? Like, who the one who, you know, who look? You are? Oh, okay.
Yes, but I mean, yeah, it's me.
It's you.
My sister, she's very sweet, bubbly, and I feel like I'm sweet too, but I'm not. I'm kind.
But you're not nice. It's different between like,
yeah.
You're a good person, not a nice person.
I guess, yeah.
Yes? No.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I'm definitely the spicy one.
The spicy one.
I told you I don't take no mess, so like, you know.
Okay, when's your birthday?
July 2nd.
July 24th.
Okay, I'm meeting a lot of July birthdays lately.
No doubt. Okay. Okay, so outside of that, so what inspired Forefront? Like, what was the first initial inspiration for Forefront? Like, was you?
So I would say it started when I was in college. So I went to North Carolina Central University in Durham, and
shout out.
Yeah, shout out to the Eagles. So while I was there, I think I mentioned I wanted to be a pharmacist growing up. So once I got there freshman year, I was like, this is not the vibe. I'm not cut out to be a pharmacist, take all these science classes, and chemistry was not my calling.
Which is weird, because you won't need that when you become a pharmacist. Some of that's...
I'm like, I just couldn't see myself doing 8 years of that. I'm like, I got to do 4 years in undergrad and then 4 years in pharm school. I'm good.
Too much time.
Yeah, too much. But that's really, college is really where my entrepreneurial, like, spirit really kicked in. And I would say during that time is when I really started to, like, tap into and understand what was happening within, like, the Black economy. And I just remember working at, I think PF Chang's at the time. And I just had this epiphany, like, I'm over here slaving at this job. I was a host. I wasn't doing much, but I'm over here slaving at this job, working for these people. Say these people. And I'm like, where are the Black businesses like this? Why don't we have establishments to this type of caliber? And so that really stuck with me. And I'm like, okay, I know Black businesses exist because, you know, being in school in Durham, there was a Black Wall Street right down the street in Durham.
Okay,
also,
word.
you know, obviously Tulsa and things of that nature. So, like, just learning more about that, I was like, we have to get back to this. Like, and I remember hearing this one statistic that's still true to this day that really stuck with me was that the Black wealth rate was going to be 0% by 2053, which is approaching, low key.
It is.
And so that's really struck me because I'm like, what does that even look like? What does that mean? And like, how can we just reverse this? And so to me, it really just came down to us creating businesses, but also our people supporting those businesses. I mean, we have a $1.9 trillion buying power, and I'm like, there's no reason that this money is not going into our communities. And so when I was in college, I started a company called The Black Market, and that was really just a marketplace for people to easily discover and shop Black-owned businesses. And so that was like my first experience into entrepreneurship, but that's still very rooted into who I am and even how I started Forefront. And so that was like 2017 to 2019, I would say. Did a lot of amazing things with that while I was in college. But once I graduated in 2019, obviously the pandemic hit, and there was really a lot happening in like 2020 with the Black Lives Matter movement, you know, just everything that was happening in that sense. And so that's kind of where I knew I had to do something as it relates to supporting and championing Black-owned businesses and making sure I put these businesses in a position to capitalize off, I don't want to say capitalize off the moment, but to get that recognition, as a lot of people were looking to support Black-owned businesses. So I'm like, okay, we need to continue to do what we're doing with the Black Market Company, but I also noticed that there was a lot happening within the influencer space. Around that time, I'm not sure if you remember, but there were a lot of things happening with Black creators, like being shadow banned on TikTok and Instagram.
I was shadow banned.
Really?
Yeah, I had a holistic herb shop at that time. I started my business right before the pandemic because I was sick, and I had a CMOS brand. So you heard of CMOS? CMOS holistic herbs and teas, because I was taking at the time. And when I used to talk about certain things, I remember I couldn't even say COVID or nothing like that, and you get shadow banned, even if to the point where I would just put. If you mention the word pandemic or anything that refers to big pharma, big pharma, anything, you get shadow banned.
Yeah, so a lot of creators were experiencing that, and they weren't getting paid equitably. They weren't getting their views up, things like that. It was just so much happening. Brands weren't really trying to they were hiring Black creators and then talking bad on, the Black community. So it just wasn't a lot of just support. We didn't feel valued, and so a lot of creators, they took, I guess they were boycotting TikTok and different things. And so I'm like, well, if these creators are over here using their platforms for all these brands that do not value them, what would it be like to have these creators who have the influence, who have the audience, to be able to use their platforms to uplift Black-owned businesses and help these brands who actually resonate with the audience, look like their audience, care about their audience? How can we connect them for partnerships? And so that was really like the birth of Forefront, combining the Buy Black space with the influencer marketing space. So basically just bringing the Black creators to the forefront. That's what it called. Yep. Woo, hey, that's hard. Okay. Okay. That's really how I got the name too. Like I said, it really started off as a Black Market Company, and every time I would talk about what I was trying to do, I was like, I want to bring Black brands to the forefront. And now how we're doing that is through content creators, because they keep brands at the forefront. They keep brands relevant. They keep brands in front of consumers, and so that's I gotta sit down with you. We gotta have a conversation after that. We having a conversation right now, actually. For sure. But yeah, because I would love to be a part of that, though. Absolutely. And we want to do some stuff with podcasters too. Please. I mean, content creation is just across the board. It's no longer just influencers sitting in front of a screen promoting. Yeah, no doubt. So many ways, and so we definitely I can bring the Black creators and stuff on the show, absolutely. And it'll be something to let them know. I think a lot of people that we see the creator, we see influencers, and they influencing us, but I feel like you get more of an influence on people once people see who you really are. Yeah, for sure. You know what I'm saying? And that's how influencers, the ones who do that, have a community, and they're vulnerable and they're open about who they are in their life. Those are the ones that are the most successful because their audience can connect and relate to them. To it. Yeah, no doubt. Okay. Yeah. All right. First thought after winning the Pharrell Black. Yeah. What was your first thought once they announced you to win? I was in total shock. Literally, I felt like I was in a daze for a second. Hold on, what? And I'll tell you why too, because I have applied to Black Ambition multiple times, like 3-4 times at that point. And even outside of that, experienced so much rejection, denials. I was not expecting that. I didn't feel like when I did the pitch competition, I didn't think I did well. I heard the other companies. I'm like, oh, that's lit. Like, that's dope. You know, I feel like as a founder, you are your biggest critic. And so I was just kind of paying attention to what I felt like I didn't do well. And so this was actually a virtual demo day. We had it on Zoom. And, you know, they announced the third place winner. I was like, okay, that's not me. Well, dang, I'm definitely not placing. Second place winner, I wasn't even paying attention at that point because I'm already thinking I didn't win.
Yeah.
And they said first place Forefront. I said, what? Like, I was literally in shock. I feel like I can think back in that moment. I was in my head like, hold on, what? And so it was definitely a shocker, but it was definitely a huge blessing and validation in a point, not even necessarily from like a worldly standpoint, but I remember I had a conversation with God like leading up to that moment. I was like, all right, look, I feel like this is something you called me to do. I feel like I'm at a stagnant point in this business. I don't know. I mean, I know this is something I want to do. I'm like, Lord, this is not what you want me to do.
Let me know something.
Let me know. And I was like, just, I don't want to keep pouring my time and energy into something that is not for me.
For sure.
And, all the denials before that made me feel like, all right, what's happening? So that moment was definitely like, okay, confirmation. This is still what I need to be doing. And even just full circle, just like I said, applying to Black Ambition multiple times, getting denied, and even getting accepted, becoming a semifinalist and not winning. So,
do you think did you tweak stuff between the times from your first application to the one when you won? Was you tweaking stuff the whole time?
I definitely did. Because
okay.
I took those. It's hard dealing with those rejections and denials, especially if you're getting them back to back to back to back.
Nah,
like,
for sure.
I mean, it was like a whole year of like rejection, not even exaggerating. So,
how'd that make you feel?
Definitely defeated in some instances. I try not to sit there too long because, again, like when you hit those moments, it's like not about these people giving you that validation. It's like, okay, are you doing something that you want to do and that you're called to do and that people need? So I knew what I was doing was needed and powerful and, something that the world needed. So I just knew, okay, maybe I just need to refine it a little bit more. And I think that was pivotal for me winning too, because a lot of times you can get rejected and just, get the big shoulders and whatever, screw them, and that's understandable too. I know rejection is not easy for people, but I think learning how to, even if you feel defeated for a little bit, just like, how can you turn this thing around? How can you improve for the next application?
For sure.
And so, yeah, I definitely improved. And I think overall, really just focus on the business, not just focus on applying to different things and trying to,
win the money.
It's just like, let's just focus on the business. How can we improve the business? And so that's when I started to see the difference.
She just talked to y'all about integrity, y'all. I ain't gonna lie, 'cause that's what it was,
Yeah.
'Cause that's like, personally, like when you go through like constant rejection, but you keep going, I feel like that's how you know that you're faith driven. Also, you're battle tested. That makes sense. I'm saying battle tested, like it's some war shit, but that's
Sure. It's
a
war. It's an internal war.
Definitely, you battle tested, because that means I did this when everybody kept telling me it wasn't gonna work. It's a no, but I kept doing it. It worked. It was always this.
Yeah.
But but you gotta go. I think God always wanted us to know whether He wanted, like, do we want it or not. He may want it for us, but I ain't gonna just give it to you, because then you may be more likely to quit. Now, it'll be real crazy for you right now, Miss Jordyn, to quit after you done got all these no's and won.
Yeah.
It'll be crazy. He'll be like, so I just feel like he put you through that so he can confirm, so you can confirm with yourself that you really want this.
That, and also another thing that I feel like between me and God, it was leading up to that. I can't remember if it was the same day. I don't think it was the same day as the competition, but it was leading up to it. And, there's this like conversation on just like idolization. I don't want to get too spiritual, too deep, but like when you talk about idolizing things, it's really just you putting it above God. And so I remember just praying and really reflecting. I'm like, if God told me to like put this business down, like He didn't want me to do it anymore, would I do it? And then from there I realized, in that moment, I was like, no, like this is dope. I want to keep it going. But then I realized I got to, another point. I started to evolve and my heart posture changed. And I was like, you know what? I got to really have trust and faith in God. Whatever He called me to do, whether it's this or something else, like I had to be submitted to that. And so, essentially, I think that was the turning point. He's like, all right, bet. Now that your heart in the right place, I can take you to this next level. So I would definitely say that was the turning point.
And just for the viewers, ask that question. The question that you said you asked God, you said that what?
Well, it was
would you still do it?
Yeah, if God told you to shut it down, to stop pursuing the business or stop going to that job, whatever, would you do it? And if not, and I had to ask myself why, and it was operating out of fear. Fear of the unknown and a lack of faith. And so I had to check myself on that. And
that's crazy.
I think
what's up.
that was the changing point, the turning point.
No doubt. Whew. Okay. So not only were you an entrepreneur, you had the entrepreneur spirit with Forefront, but you also dabble in real estate from what I've seen.
Yes.
You and your twin sister went and did a flip, right? They call it flip. Yeah, okay.
Fix
So
and flip.
what inspired that? Was that a money move, or was that just something to do?
I would just say in general, before I get into that, I feel like, as I mentioned, just being entrepreneurial, it kind of stemmed from our parents. So building wealth has always been something that we have all been interested in.
For sure.
So I don't want to, say that making money moves is bad or make it, have that perception. I think it's definitely important, but we're looking at it from a standpoint, obviously building wealth, but also wanting to pick up some knowledge so we can share it, and I think that's important. I think that's all really aligned with, my calling, my passion for entrepreneurship. But what inspired that, or how did I get there, is really my sister. Like, my sister, she really the boss, I would say. Like, she really the boss, like how she be moving with just building wealth and her extra streams of income and things like that. So she was the one that kind of got me in a position to do that. So, as I mentioned, when I moved to Atlanta, she had just bought a townhome. And so that was her first, like, big girl purchase. So that helped her with the foundation of, building a home, but also learning what it takes to, like, invest in a property and what that situation is like. So she was really, like, the inspiration behind it. And once the opportunity came about to do a fix and flip, I was kind of just, like, taking her lead. And she led us to the opportunity, and it was a learning experience, I would say. But
how was it? Did it come out okay?
Oh yeah, it did. I mean, obviously it's a fix and flip, so it's not like a new build. Obviously, there's things that's wrong. Happen, but just having the right people in place to help you with that. So
no, that's important. So for right now, I'm gonna tell you about myself. Me personally, I have a hard time working with people sometimes because I'm used to doing everything on my own.
Understood.
I'm learning though, so I'm getting better. I'm not the same how I used to be.
Yeah.
Have you felt that, like, that type of energy? Like, I kind of want to do it on my own. Cause I know, cause right now I'm at a point where I don't want to build a team.
Yeah.
So I got my man T behind the board. You know what I'm saying? I got Gates. I got people with me now.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like that all the time. So are you at that point where you like, I need to build this team?
Oh, definitely. That's definitely where I am at this point. I mean, I would say before, when I just got started, I had that mindset because, like, I feel like once you get the vision, you feel like you know what you're doing. Like, I'm locked in. I know what I'm doing. Like, don't get in my way. So I was that person, I would say maybe more so in college, where I feel like I had all the answers. So I did get to the point of wisdom where I knew I had to evolve, get a team. I can't do this because I'm like, I can only do but so much. I don't have all the skill sets to build technology and all that. I know my strengths, but that's not one of them. And so back in 2022, maybe, is when I met Alton, who was our head of product.
Shout out Alton.
Yeah, shout out to Alton. And he's been rocking with us ever since, for real. He's a real one. But that was like, okay, at this point, I have to find somebody who can do something I can't do and that can bring value to the business. And so I brought him onto the team, and that's been a great experience because he's been really connected with the commerce side of things. He does a lot of work with e-commerce brands. He's done some work with Dave East and his cologne brand. So he's really that guy as it relates to e-commerce and commerce brands and things like that. And so, reached out to him and got some support on some of the things we were doing when we first launched with our affiliate marketplace. And from there, I was like, yeah, like, this is good to have a team because I couldn't have gotten this far. Definitely couldn't have gotten to Black Ambition without a product and, an MVP, things of that nature. And so,
something,
yeah. And now, once now that we have some extra funding to be able to expand the team, like that was my first thing. I'm like, all right, we need a team. I'm still working a full-time job. There's just some things that I just know is not going to progress if
you gotta have that.
If it's only on me. And so I'm like, I gotta find the right people to, expand the team with. And so that's where I am right now.
That was so I had to go through that similar thing. You learn as time progressed. Like you be like, damn, excuse my language, but I can't do it. I tried though. I tried. I really do. But then once you get to the point where you finna burn out, like, cause I still work full-time job now. You know what I'm saying? So I just know that you can only do so much, only one person. Yeah. And if you stretch yourself so thin, say if a blessing do come, I'm doing so much running, I done ran right past the blessing because I'm like, damn, that was my help right there. That was my blessing to get me some more. But
then also, like I told you, I'm big on faith. And then I feel like also that's a sign of a lack of faith. Like you don't feel like God will bring the right people to, provide for the vision that he's giving you. And also realizing that your vision is tied to like other people's visions and, other people's callings. And so I had to realize that too. Once I got to that point where like, all right, I already know, regardless of what I do, I'm good. But also know like the people, if God really sent them, like we gonna be good. And so I think just having that mindset of obviously and discernment, making sure you ain't just bringing any and everybody. But if you feel like this person is right for your business and right for where you're going,
it's going to jail. It's definitely going to jail.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly.
Cause we done got a lot of done with just us three here. We be trying to make it shake. So I agree with that 100%. I love that your mind is always faith driven. Most people don't have it. I can tell just off the energy. You come here, it's very calming when you come. I don't feel, sometimes you can feel people's energy when they come in. You can tell that, okay, maybe I gotta, calm them down a little bit, but you came here very confident, very calm.
Thank you. I was listening to some gospel music on the way here, so that's probably why.
Gangsta or gospel?
Gospel.
Oh, okay.
Gangsta gospel, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, some praise and worship. I had to, get right before I walked up in here.
For sure. I'm glad you did, though.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to do some rapid-fire questions for you, okay? You know what I'm saying? So, you ready? Mm-hmm. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Okay, no doubt.
I was going to act like it was a hard one, but I'm a tea girl. I do love some coffee, but definitely tea.
Tea top tier, though. Okay. Mm-hmm. One bucket list item you haven't checked off yet?
Traveling to all continents.
All continents.
Yeah. I mean, I really want to get to every single country. But I think all continents is definitely like, obviously I can do that before I do all countries, but yeah.
Yeah. Top tier. Okay. Go-to karaoke song. Can you sing?
I can, low-key.
Oh, shit.
I feel like every time I do karaoke, I do Waterfalls. By, what is it?
TLC?
No. Is it Waterfalls? No, hold on. What is it? SWV? Is that Waterfall? No.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Is that?
That's TLC, I think. TLC.
Is that even a song though? I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
She don't know, y'all.
I think it's the song.
I'm the best.
I haven't done karaoke in a long time, but yeah, I think that's the go-to. Waterfalls by TLC.
I'm a rap. If I do karaoke, I'm rapping.
No, that's not it though. I'm tripping. Whatever. Next question. Because I'm gonna be here all day trying to think about that one.
No doubt. Favorite city you ever traveled to?
Accra, Ghana.
Say it again.
Accra, Ghana.
Accra. Oh, okay. Accra,
yes,
Ghana. Okay, no
I went
doubt.
in 2023.
Beautiful.
I love it. Yes.
Never been. I'm gonna have to see what they're talking about.
Put it on your bucket list.
Put them on. Okay.
You might not want to come back. I'm just gonna let you know that.
For real?
They're gonna love you out there.
I'll make a surprise.
No, for sure.
I don't be liking America now anyway. Too,
oh, and you'll love Ghana. Any black person will love Ghana for sure.
Okay. Last one. One word that describes this season of your life. One word.
Audacious. So just moving with more. Sometimes people say intention, but I want to say audacity. Like I have the audacity to just walk in my purpose and do the things I know I'm supposed to be doing. So. Audacious.
That energy hard too. Cause I don't know if you ever. I'm pretty sure you probably haven't, or like you're not paying attention to it. But like when you walk in the room, do you feel that people seeing you like walking over that energy? Do you feel that?
It's not something that I am
searching for, right?
No, not even that. But that's not something I've recognized or I'm conscious of.
Okay.
But I mean, I do know that I do carry a certain energy, like a good energy where
Mm-hmm.
I've recently learned that it's favor. I used to like call it
Yeah,
something
yeah,
else.
that's
Until I went to church and this girl kind of just
Mhm.
spoke that on me and my sister's life. I'm like, that's what it is. It's not me because I'm like dope and fly, whatever. But it's like, you know, I feel like I do have like the favor of the Lord on me, and so I feel like that energy is
seeping through.
yeah.
Because when you got that, how my peoples describe it is like no matter what happens in life, God gonna always make sure you good.
Exactly.
So
that
it's
favor.
like one of them type of. It's like when some people do stuff and they be like, 'cause they may not feel it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, I gotta make this work.
Yeah.
I think everybody got some favor. I ain't gonna sit there and say and single out nobody, but
if you locked in, you should.
you should
I mean,
have
you
that.
definitely. You just gotta know how to.
Yeah, you know
what to do with it.
sometimes it just take a person to just connect with God. But
Mhm.
I'll say that because anything you do is you're gonna be all right. I remember I used to hear it all the time, like, and I used to be like, man, how is this? But then I'm going to right now. I'm in the trenches or something going on, something not as good, based off like my prior life situation, and I be like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna make it through. I have no clue. And then you always make it to that point. You be like, damn, okay.
Yeah.
So
I was
that's
tripping for what?
Why was I even? Yeah. Why did I even do all that?
Yeah. No, definitely.
Okay, so how do you balance your ambition with your spiritual growth? I asked that. I'm gonna ask that to all my guests for this whole season.
Yeah.
Because I know me. I'm always ask questions based on how I be feeling. So I remember the time I forget to pray in the morning because I'm getting up and getting to it. You know, I get up every day 4:30 and I got a dog too. So I just be doing. I take care of my dog, feed her, take her on a walk, and I forget to talk to God some days. And then by the time I get moving today, I'm too busy to even say a nighttime prayer. I'm ready to go to sleep. So
Understood.
how do you balance?
That's something that I'm actually experiencing right now. Like, I feel like it's been a very busy time in my life, just mainly with my job and the work that I'm doing. And so that's something that I have been like talking with God. I'm like, God, I'm sorry, I haven't really been tapped in, and I know you like blessing me, and like I think even just having those moments, because like people feel like your talks with God and your prayers have to be so heartfelt and deep. Like sometimes it's just like, Lord, like I'm sorry. I know I'm supposed to be talking to you more. I know you want more out of me right now, and life is just a little crazy, Lord. But so that's really where I've been lately. So I definitely feel that, and I think for me, just as much as I feel like God gives me grace, giving myself grace, and knowing that I know I'm gonna always find my way back to like getting back rooted, even if I'm not doing as much as I want to. I think that's always my foundation. So I know I'm not too far off, but I know when things get a little crazy, I'm like, all right, yeah, you really need to tap back in because it ain't too pretty out here.
I think I think he has a system for that though too. Because I feel like the more you go without it, he's just gonna let stuff go away. So you gonna eventually be like, I need to tap back in.
Yeah, for sure.
It always work out like that. And I think he also give checkpoints. So like how you say you asked them before you won the grand prize. You was like, all right, I'm working. I feel like God give you checkpoints, like little things that just let you know that you're going in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
So have you ever experienced like deja vu?
Yeah.
All right, so I don't know what's your interpretation of deja vu? What's your interpretation of it?
I used to think that deja vu was like me experiencing a moment that I've experienced in a past life.
Okay, past life.
Like, I don't know if this is true. Like, this is why I say I used to, because I haven't really had that thought in a while, like what deja vu is or what it really is. I don't know if I still believe in past lives. I don't know, so I'm not gonna get up here and just start saying stuff that I don't.
I got.
But that's what I used to believe, that I've been here before. Like I'm just back in the same moment I was X amount of years ago. But that's kind of what I think it is. But ultimately, I think it's like I'm on the right path. Like that's what I always feel like.
I be thinking because my deja vu's be like moments. Like my deja vu don't be like nothing past. Like I always end up catching my deja vu like later though. It'd be like say I had one podcast episode I did, and the person walked in. It was like the exact scenario. My deja vu not like no scene. It's like a quick. You know how gifts are? It's like 2 seconds. And that's how mine be. So I'm like, oh snap, and that's how I always correlate that to like a checkpoint. So I call those my checkpoints. God let me know I'm doing the right thing. And all my like deja vu is never like a bad situation. It's always good ones. But I may see it in passing in like a dream or something like that.
It's very quick. It's
very
like nothing
quick.
you can't think too much about it, but it's like, hold on.
I only have movie scenarios in my dream. My dreams be like clips, just quick stuff, no sound. Just I be like, but yeah. So, I got a little far off topic, but
okay.
yeah, but just that's what like for me it's just them confirmations that they know that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, for sure.
How does Forefront help with builders and creators like build a meaningful partnership? Like how does it help them exactly? Like what's the process of helping creators?
Yeah, so our main focus has been like emerging creators. I feel like a lot of times emerging creators, they kind of get, left behind. A lot of people are not really tapping in with them. But honestly, micro creators are the ones that have like the best engagement, things of that nature. So they just haven't really been tapped in with the right partnerships or the right brand to be able to explore, what those type of partnerships could lead to. So Forefront is really a place where these creators and these brands who are just kind of getting started within that realm of marketing to, give them, a platform to be successful as creators, to monetize, to find brands that they align with, but also build with a community. I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, but also as creators, like you're really kind of growing in a silo where, you might have some friends that are doing the content creation game or you can go to for advice, but a lot of times it's like you editing your content by yourself, you're trying to figure out the algorithms yourself, and it can get very isolating. But I realize a lot of creators are just trying to figure it out on their own. So we're really trying to build a community of content creators who are growing, that can grow together, that can learn from each other, that can learn from industry leaders that we may bring in and things of that nature. So I would say that's really how we support these creators, just making sure we're giving them the platform to be able to monetize, but the support that they need to really grow.
Love that. So if y'all not all my creators, I know there's a lot of y'all that follow, and subscribe. So definitely tap in with Ms. Lady. If you need to get to her, you can contact me, however y'all want to do it.
Yes.
I know running a business, because I've ran some myself. How big is accountability for you in life and in business?
Accountability is huge because without accountability, as you mentioned earlier, like you can lose your integrity, like you can lose just your credibility. You can lose a lot because you're just so caught up on what you feel like you need to be doing or just the ways of life, honestly. And that's real, but I think that accountability brings you back to where you're supposed to be, where you can slip up. And I feel like we all slip up sometimes in life. Entrepreneurship is hard. Life is hard. And so being able to still have that grace for yourself, but all right, let's get back right. Like it's May at this point. Why, let's make sure we're, doing the right things to get us in a different position for June or for July, things like that. So accountability is huge because I think that's the one thing that's going to take you from being stagnant and just being where you are, being comfortable and getting to your goals.
So with your busy schedule, do you have your personal time? Are you able to have your personal time?
I do try to make time for my, just me personally. I wouldn't say it's the easiest thing in the world, especially when this has been a very busy season for me. And so I've tried to incorporate it, but I learned that maybe sometimes I incorporate just personal time or self-care time too late when I'm already drained. Like, all right, it's been a busy week. Let me close this laptop. Let me go walk the belt line. Let me do something for myself.
But you be already too tired to
I'll do it, but it's like, why don't I just need to keep that part of my daily or weekly routine so I don't get burnt out and drained and, deplete myself, So I'm trying to incorporate that more on a routine basis, whether that look like just me pour myself some tea. I used to do that every morning, maybe some herbal tea, boil some water. I like everything. Lately I've been on oolong tea, yeah.
I know that. Okay. That's dope.
Yeah, so I used to do that every morning. That was a ritual of mine, getting up, making me some tea, playing my music, just vibing.
Okay.
And now it's I don't be playing my gospel music sometimes. I'm like, Lord, we got to get it together. But
what you be playing? You play hip hop?
No, it's just I'll wake up and sometimes you said you just get right to it, or
sure.
Start scrolling on Instagram. So
that's for sure. I try to put my phone far away from me, so by the time I get up, I can't really grab it. So
I be trying to do that sometimes, but
I got Alexa to short. Alexa my alarm though. I use my phone. See, that was my excuse. I had my phone as an alarm.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, Alexa's my alarm now, so I keep my phone far from me. But sometimes, which is crazy, one time I had to kind of like not slap myself literally, but just be like, bro, what you got going on? I got up right out of bed, went straight to the phone and looked like just scrolling, but I was expecting something to come.
Yeah,
so
I mean that's understandable, but you had that accountability for yourself.
Yeah,
That's good. You get right back on track.
I be trying.
Yeah,
it's harder than you think, but okay. So what's next for Forefront? Any upcoming launches?
So what's next for Forefront? As I mentioned earlier, we're working on expanding our team. So we're bringing on a partnerships coordinator. The person we're bringing on, she's been in the influencer space for some time, and I think she's going to really bring some pretty good insight on the influencer side, but also working with brands. So she has that experience. So I'm excited to bring her on so we can really get the right brands on the platform, get the right creators, but making sure we're maximizing the platform. So we're bringing her on. We're also bringing on a social media coordinator, and I'm excited about that because I feel like we have a dope brand, but we got to tell the story, and I just haven't had the time to do that, or that's not my area of expertise, and so
I should do like a documentary or something like that.
Really?
I think so. That'd be dope. I can see you doing that.
Really?
Speaking on that.
No, I want to do I would love to do some. I don't even want to call it a podcast. I do have an idea for something. I might have to, tap in on this idea, but
for sure.
I do have some type of podcast talk show type of thing in the woodworks. I recently thought, okay, that's gonna be something later down the line, but somebody was like, why not just do it now? So we'll see. But overall, we are planning to do some creator dinners out in Atlanta, maybe even doing some in Charlotte, my hometown, maybe some in Houston. We'll see what cities we get to. But ultimately, as I mentioned, community is huge, and so we really want to start to cultivate, a dope community for Black creators to be in different spaces that they might not always be invited to. They might not always get invited to the influencer events or the brand activation, things like that. But how can we create those experiences for these content creators and for the brands as well, and bring in the Black brands into the conversation? And so that's really what's next. Just evolving and growing our marketplace, getting as many brands and creators. So creators, brands, tap in. But that's really our biggest focal point. And then outside of that is how can we cultivate a strong community of brands and creators to continue to grow?
For sure. I want to ask too. So what are y'all not looking for? Because there's a lot of different people got a lot of different brands. Is there anything that you guys see and y'all be like, well, we can't work with that? Like, what is it? So the people who watching, they know.
I feel like there was a really crazy brand. I'm not gonna say crazy. It wasn't fully what I would want to have on the platform. I can't remember what it was.
You ain't got to put no names up.
No, I don't even remember the brand name.
Okay.
But that's honestly something I'm thinking about because obviously there are some things that I may or may not use or be aligned with, but I'm also thinking about, okay, our customers and what they might be, because I'm not my customer all the way. Other people that we'll cater to. So that's honestly something that I've been reflecting on. I'm like, where do I draw the line, especially being a woman of faith, different things, what things are just not. That's a challenge for me right now.
I was wondering that too, guys, because I know you still building it, so it's I know it's always good to have your stop point. Hey, all right, you got to stick to it. I mean, unless it's innovative to break that barrier again. But I for this space, we say okay, we don't need certain type of people to come into the studio. Not trying to be funny or nothing, but we want to make sure because it's an intimate space. It's still a federal building. We got a lot of things going on. So it's not a free use space. So some people think it's like Cam Newton's podcast. He got a cigar. I would love that. I would love one right now. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it's not that. So you want to make sure people align with it, and just because we are this is I'm stuttering. This is a starter thing. So I want it to be okay, we need people that's dedicated and ready to do a pod. We can't do a fly by night thing. Yeah. So that's why I asked that question for you though. Wow. Well, you gave some great intel. What does your sister do?
My sister, she does a lot. I told you she's the boss for real. She real estate investor. She has a Toro fleet. She is a content creator and she teaches people about how to build wealth and how to position themselves to start to invest in real estate, how to position themselves to get a Toro fleet or just to earn passive income. I think that's ultimately everyone's goal or who wants that financial freedom. So she teaches them how to do that.
I would love for both of y'all to come at the same time.
Oh, that'd
double
be lit.
trouble.
Yes, for sure. You gotta get her on here too. Yeah, for sure.
That'd be some double trouble. So, so really, what kind of advice would you give to a young lady, you back when you was in college trying to figure out what you was gonna do? What advice would you give your old self? And then
I would just tell her to keep going. Like, I think we all have that moment in time when we feel like we see something that we want to pursue, something that we're passionate about.
Right.
We might not have the courage to do it. We might not have the resources to do it. We might not have just the support to do it. And it's just so surprising how many people let that kind of get in their way of succeeding or really just trying it out. Like, don't be afraid to try things out. It's okay if it fails. It's okay if it's ugly. It's okay if nobody comes to support. It's okay if your friends don't support. Just keep doing it. Like, if you have something that you know you're called to do and you know that other people will benefit from, just do it simply off of that, and just trying it out. Don't feel like things need to be perfect. 'Cause I think I recently learned I'm a perfectionist, and I like for things to be very much a certain way. And that can really just get in your way of success because it's really you just pushing things off. And so I'm learning
delaying
that.
it.
So I would tell my old self or just any other entrepreneur, just don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to fail. I mean, imagine if I let those failures of applying to Black Ambition or whatever get in my way. I'm like, all right, I'm done. And I would have never got the 50K. So it's just like keeping your eye on the prize and focus on your vision, but like just don't be afraid to fail.
I got another question that popped in my head. You said you was an introvert, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I seen you at events and stuff with a lot of people. How are you dealing with that? And you an introvert? I think you might be an ambivert. You might not be a
I think I am actually. Cause I recently heard that term. I think I identify more with that. So I will take that back. I'm not an introvert. I think I'm an ambivert.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, I'm an ambivert. But I sometimes experience social anxiety, or at least I did in college. And I realized, like, all right, you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be successful. Like, you got to network, you got to be in certain rooms, and you can't let that get in your way. Like, you want to be successful, you want to be scared. Which one you want to do? So, I'm really like, we were talking about this before the podcast. You a realist. I'm very much a realist, but at the same time, like, I can just be real with myself and straight to the point. Like, I don't want to say I'm hard on myself. I'm very kind to myself, but I'm real to myself. Like, Jordyn, like, tap in. Like, if you wanna, grow and be successful, you're gonna have to get out of this being scared to talk to people, or you don't want to go to, obviously, being aware of your limits and your boundaries with yourself, but also recognizing if it's just fear or whatever the case is. So,
how you determine whether it's fear or just a boundary?
Most of the time it's fear. I mean, for me to, like, what boundary would I have to my success? I feel like there might be internal boundaries that we place on ourselves or that we set on ourselves.
Right.
Or I'm not going to those spaces. Those not for me. I think when you look deep down, like, okay, is that just fear or is that place really not for you? So I used to tell myself stuff like that. And I had to realize, I'm like, who said that it's not a place for you? So I had to really, understand the stories I tell myself.
Right.
But honestly, when it comes to, obviously there's boundaries, like with people, relationships, all that kind of stuff. There are, boundaries that you should put into place. But when it comes to, like I said, me growing and evolving, I think a lot of times we just place limits on ourselves that we don't realize.
No, we do. Wow. Okay. What advice do you have for like a person, like a BIPOC entrepreneur creator that wants to come on a platform? Like, what would you tell them that they need to do before they come to you?
I would say most importantly, like, make sure you have like your sales funnels and everything in order, because I think a lot of times brands look at influencers and content creation like, okay, I can give you $500, you're gonna make one post and my brand about to be up.
Right.
And that's just not it's not reality. It's not how it works. It's just like any other form of marketing. You run some ads, you post a billboard, whatever the case is. Like, it takes time, Yeah.
And so, I used to think like that too.
Yeah, but I'm noticing that sometimes brands don't have their foundation in order as it relates to their funnels. And so you might even, hit it off with a great influencer who had some great engagement, sales went up, but it was hard for you to even track that because you don't have your sales funnels in order. Or even if you didn't get a lot of sales, you could have had some emails or you could have had some type of conversion, but you didn't have that. So I think that's most important. Just having that foundation, not even just for influencer marketing, but in general, I feel like you need it. As you're growing your brand, you're getting that recognition on social media. People want to stay plugged in with your business, and obviously the algorithms are horrible, so they can follow you. That don't mean they're gonna see your content. So having an email list, having ways to like build community with your audience, and making sure that you can just constantly reach them. But I think that's the biggest thing that I'm seeing as far as brands and making sure they're ready for influencers, just being able to track that and follow just the impact of a campaign. So that would be like my first piece of advice. But second, apply to Forefront.
Apply to Forefront. Boom.
Yeah.
There it is. Look, yeah. Okay, so y'all, I've tried to make sure she gave all the gems and everything for the for this episode. I'm trying to think if I got anything else I want to ask you. Comment below, y'all, if y'all want to see a part 2 with Double Trouble. Though I want to get both of the twins up in here.
Yes.
So, I want to say thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. This is dope. I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, no doubt. Me as well. I had a good time as well. Give them everybody your social handles. This your screen right here. Tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, y'all can find me on Instagram and Threads. I think that's about all I'm on, really. I'm not really on TikTok. Yeah. I'm on LinkedIn. I don't know.
The marketer tells you
I know, but I like Instagram.
No,
I do have a TikTok too. But Jordyn the Goat, JORDYNDAGOT _.
We gonna put it on.
Yeah, make sure y'all put it. Yeah, and then Forefront ATL on all platforms. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, LinkedIn, all the things.
No doubt. Thank you for coming on the show. I pray for your massive success.
Thank you. Likewise.
I hope you stay connected and everything so I can see you in your future endeavors.
Absolutely.
All right, John. Y'all know how we do. Y'all can follow me on all social platforms at Who Is Realer. You can also follow the podcast platform at Don Diallo TV on all platforms. Brought to you by Gate7 Studios. I'm your host, Realer. This is Don Diallo Podcast. We gone.